Bienvenidos a Raíces and Wings.
Nosotros los inmigrantes.
Hi, Romy, how are you?
How are you? I think, okay, bienvenidos? What is bienvenidos?
Oh, welcome.
Oh, okay, okay.
The other one was in English.
Well, we are very glad and very excited today because we have a super guest today with us.
Yes, she's Monique Garcia, and she's the director of communication with
Community relations.
Oh,
Yes.
community relations. So you are in charge to send all the information about the foundation to the community.
Correct.
What is the name of your community?
The Kansas Health Foundation.
Uh-huh.
Yes, it's a statewide philanthropy that we provide grants for several focus areas: access to care, healthy behaviors, civic and community engagement, and educational attainment.
Wow.
So
And we are dressed in
Yes.
this.
yes,
Ask
They
me
say,
about the
ask me about the 2020 census.
and that's exactly what we are going to do. We're going to
Yes.
ask Monique about the census.
Yes.
And why is that that the Kansas Health Foundation gets involved with the census?
That's a great question, Romy. The Kansas Health Foundation recognizes that the census is very important to the state because about $4.5 billion in federal programming comes to Kansas. And so it's really important that we really engage and do a lot of grassroots outreach with hard-to-count communities, such as urban areas like Wichita or Southwest Kansas or Southeast Kansas, where there's large Latino populations or low-income populations, and rural areas, the elderly are also considered hard-to-count populations, and also college students because they're very
Oh,
transient.
the mobility.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
So we want to make sure that we count everybody because everybody counts, and it's so important. It happens every 10 years, and we always try and tell people that's every 2 presidents plus 2 years, and so that's a long time.
Oh,
That's a
wow.
long time.
So
Yes,
you've
that's
got to
right.
make sure it counts.
Yes.
Yeah.
Monique, how they are going to count us?
That's a very good question. So beginning March 12th, so almost in a month, the Census Bureau will be mailing letters to every household, letting them know that the census is coming. April 1st is considered Census Day. And that's kind of strange because everybody thinks that April 1st is April Fool's Day. But there's nothing foolish, there's nothing, no April Fool's joke about the census.
No joke.
It's so important because for every Kansan that's not counted, that accounts for about $2,082 per person that does not, of programs that doesn't come to our state in our communities. So it's really important.
It's very important.
Yes.
And we need to count each of the heads that are at home.
Yes.
You know what, Monique? I was so shocked when you mentioned that Wichita is a hard-to-count community.
It is.
Why is that?
That's a great question, Romy, because Wichita is considered an urban community which has a large diversity of people. So for instance, Wichita has the largest Latino population within the state. And so according to the 2010 census for Sedgwick County, there's about a 16 or 17% of the Latino population that live in Sedgwick County. So that's almost a 1 in 5 number of Latinos who reside in Sedgwick County. So it's really important that everybody gets counted, even the low-income communities, the aging population, and again, college students. And we have several universities here in Wichita, Friends University, Wichita State, and a lot of these students move around a lot, of course. And so it's really important that everybody gets counted. Where you're living at on April 1st, you must get counted.
That means that the students from WSU, for example, they are going to receive that form?
Yes.
Oh.
So that's a great question. So that's the Census Bureau is obviously targeting group type of living dynamics, so dorms, even where the elderly live.
Oh yes, the house, the retirement house.
Yeah, yes, exactly. So even jails, so where there's large populations of course.
Absolutely.
So inmates also get counted. So we really want to make sure that everybody understands everybody gets counted.
people who doesn't have papers, we are in fear. We are very scared.
Yes.
It's safe?
It is safe. That's a great question. It is safe, it's confidential, it's extremely confidential. The responses to the questionnaire are not shared with any other law enforcement organizations such as ICE and Customs and Border Patrol, law enforcement, and the answers must be confidential for 72 years. So it's safe, it's
72
confidential, and the Census Bureau employees take an oath where they cannot share, obviously, the responses, because they will go to jail and pay a $250,000 fine.
Wow, not fun.
Right, so we try and do as much grassroots engagement and outreach with the communities across Kansas to let folks know that they can fill out the census. And we understand there's a fear because there was a proposed citizenship question that was on the census, but it's not on there anymore. But there's just still a large amount of fear that people have, and understandably so.
So it doesn't matter if they are or if we are undocumented migrant workers that come only for the season and are working here, if you're a college student that are in the dorms or living in your babies, grandparents. What about when we have some other members of the family living with us, like the niece or the uncle, or in some cases, friends? We, as Hispanic people, we also tend to help other people. Maybe we have a couple of friends that are living in our house, we are not related. Do they need to be counted in the same household?
That's a great question. Absolutely, yes. So anybody who's living in your household as of April 1st, 2020 is counted. So that's really important because you mentioned our cultura. We, by nature, we have, cousins and grandmas and family members, extended family members that live with us. And so, yes, they must be counted.
Friends.
Friends, too.
Friends.
Yes. Friends who are maybe passing through and staying with you for a month or so. If they're at your house on April 1st of this year, they do count.
So April 1st is the day, so wherever they are, they should be counted.
Yes.
So for example, this is in my case, I have my niece living with me just for 1 year. I know that she's not going to be here next year. Do I need to count?
Absolutely. That's a great
Just
question.
because she was there.
Yes. At your house on April 1st of 2020, she does count. Now, if she was to move to California on May 25th of 2020, then she would not count under your household, but where she resides on April 1st is she must get counted.
Yes. Because she
Very
does exist.
interesting.
She does exist wherever she is, in California or in beautiful Wichita with beautiful weather.
And and just yesterday I spoke to somebody who works for the city of Cheney. And so Cheney is a small town just west of Wichita, and the person works for the city. She's the city clerk, and she was saying they have a lot of people who are coming in to Cheney to work on the pipeline projects there. And so they're there for, the next 4 to 6 months. And so the city of Cheney is trying to outreach to these workers and say, the census is, you're going to get a letter at your house because they're renting apartments and homes there, and they're wanting them the workers to fill out the census so they can count.
That is very important.
It's very important.
We have some programs that depend on the census.
Absolutely.
Give us an example.
Oh, what a great question. So many programs, there are too many to name. They reach over the hundreds, and so, but programs that we know right off the top of our head that the folks would be familiar with are Head Start. The Head Start programs, as we know, are so important, especially for the early childhood education and for young children who are low income. And these programs are so important because, as you both know, as teachers, that prepares the child to do well in school and succeed. Literacy, language, so Head Start, SNAP, so the food benefits, health clinics, roads, and we don't think, okay, why is a road important to me? Well, I mean, if you have a lot of potholes in the streets, and that can mess up your car and mess up the alignment, then you have to take it to
Right,
dealership and pay to, so it's important. So roads are very important too.
Yeah, or they can lead to accidents, and we don't
Exactly.
want that. It's
Yes.
safety, it's health. That's why
Absolutely.
the Kansas Health Foundation is involved.
Exactly, and so, a lot of people have asked, why is the Kansas Health Foundation getting involved? Because our mission is to improve the health of all Kansans. And so
Right.
we have a statewide footprint, so we want to make sure we're doing a lot of grassroots outreach to communities in Southwest Kansas, everywhere.
It's the well-being in general of the
Yes,
families, right?
exactly.
Okay.
So if we don't have a healthy community, then we don't have economic impacts that we're making to our state, and then it's just a domino effect of how things, fall down if we don't have a healthy workforce, educated children, and just the list goes on. So.
Right.
We will suppose that I don't speak English.
Mhm.
I don't, but
Yeah.
we have the form in different languages.
Yes.
Oh.
A great question. The Census Bureau has over 13 languages that are on the questionnaire.
Okay.
So they want to remove as many barriers as possible for people to complete the census. And the Census Bureau even has the questionnaire in Braille. So if a person is legally blind, they still have an
Wow.
opportunity to fill out the census.
That is so nice. That
And
is so nice.
if I don't know how to write,
And again, a very good question. We are very fortunate that the public libraries are a huge, not only in Kansas, but across the nation, are a huge partner to make sure that we have, that everybody fills out the census, because libraries also receive federal funding. So of course the libraries.
I love libraries.
Yes.
I love them.
We're in a library now, so
Yeah.
it's great to see so many people here and using the services and checking out books and promoting literacy and so much more.
Yeah.
So libraries are also a big, huge, important effect of why the census should be.
I just would like one clarification when we're using the word residents.
Mhm.
Does it mean that they need to be legal residents? No, by any means, right?
Correct, they do not. And this is what sets the census apart from voting. So a person has to be a US citizen to vote, and that's understandable. But with a census is different in that the person doesn't need to be a US citizen to be counted.
Okay.
And that should be, we need to really hone in and hit that
Right.
home to let people know that if you're an undocumented person, you still count in the
Okay.
census. And so that's huge.
and for example, I can fill the form another way, it's to call.
Yes, great
I can
question.
call.
Yes, there's several ways. So the Census Bureau wants to remove as many barriers for people to be able to complete the census. So you can do it on the phone, online, so you can come to the public library and fill it out, or by hand.
The old style.
Yes,
The old style.
school.
Paper
Paper.
and pen. I do that.
Send it by mail.
Yes, and it's the census is actually 9 questions, so it's quick. It takes less than 10 minutes, and again, we're telling people it's going to shape your future, you and your family's future for the next 10 years.
10 minutes for the next 10 years.
Yes.
Wow.
That's a big investment. That's a big payoff.
It is.
Yes. So
Do
Yeah.
we need to expect people knocking the door?
another great question. So the Census Bureau will be mailing out the letters to each household beginning March 12th, so in about a month. So when those letters come, the person will be able to read the information and say, and realize, okay, they have a certain time limit to fill out the census. And so April 1st is considered National Census Day. And so that's, we kind of laugh because we all know that April 1st is April Fool's Day, but we say there's no joke about this. The census is so important. And so April 1st is the date of when people can fill out the census and count every person that's in the household as of that day on April 1st. So it's really important that people fill out the census. They can come to the library if they need help. The staff is equipped and they know how to help people. And again, as you mentioned, the different languages, over 13 languages that the census form is available, and even in Braille. But and then folks have about 3 months or so to fill out the census. And if they don't fill out the census right away, then the Census Bureau has workers that will come out. Yes, knock on the
Knock on
door and, follow up. And so, and there's, again, no fear in having a census worker come to your household. They are, they take an oath to keep the information confidential. They won't share their responses with law enforcement, such as ICE or immigration, and so it's really
It's
important.
safe.
It's safe, yes.
And it's for our future, like you said.
Exactly.
Wow.
It's safe, it's easy, and it shapes your family's future for the next 10 years.
Right.
Yes.
And because I am the clarification lady,
Sure.
another clarification,
Yes.
you mentioned that we can do or we can respond the census over the phone.
Yes.
So are we expecting people to call us? Because this is the time where there's a lot of scams and a lot
Right.
of fraud there. We don't want people to get,
Right.
So how is this telephone thing?
That
Do
is
they
a-
call us?
That's a great question. So the person would call the Census Bureau, so that, and then would answer the 9 or so questions on the questionnaire.
So you call the
Correct.
census?
Yes.
We are not
there.
expecting any phone call. We are not expecting any knock before August.
I would say probably sooner than that.
Okay.
Maybe, I would say, maybe the May, June timeframe.
May, June.
Yes.
Okay.
So the-
So it is much better to fill out that
Yes.
or
Yes.
online. We are going to put here the website so you can access your form, and you can do it here in the public library. You can do it like Romy in the old style and send it by email, by mail.
Yeah.
Or if you prefer, you can have
You can call.
you can call them
Mhm.
and they will fill out that for you. That is
Exactly,
excellent.
yes.
So we
And
don't
if I
have any
can-
excuse.
Absolutely, and wanted to add, so each household that gets a letter from the Census Bureau, there is what they call a geocode, and really it's just a pair of numbers that the person will need to either mention when they call to do it over the
Okay.
phone or online or hard copy, snail mail, old school. And so that little geocode just makes sure that that's the household that is answering the questionnaire. So that's the only kind of unique identifier, if you will, for that questionnaire. So that just allows the Census Bureau to say, okay, this household on Amadon, yes,
Uh-huh.
is answering, so.
Okay,
Yes.
okay. So
Excellent.
this is something. This is a conversation that we may need to have this weekend within the family, the friends, people at church.
Yes.
And if you need any help, Romy, Monique,
Absolutely.
and Tatiana, we are here to help you.
Absolutely.
You can email us or you can contact us by this channel,
Mhm.
and we will be more than happy to
Absolutely.
help you.
We need that funding for all the programs that the Hispanic community receives, and not only the Hispanic
Not just
community
the-
in
exactly.
general,
Yes.
but we do need to be counted.
Yes.
Right.
Everybody,
Everybody counts.
all the communities, I mean, all the Wichitecas.
Yes.
We
All
need
the
to be
Wichitecas.
counted, because these
All
are,
the Kansans.
yes, because these are money for the city,
Yes.
for the little
absolutely.
cities,
Yep.
and the state in general.
And for the
Absolutely.
next 10
10
years,
years.
we cannot
So-
change that after
Yes.
this. So
We
it's
cannot
very
change it.
important.
Very important.
And
Well,
So Monique,
Monique,
Thank you. Thank you so much
Thank you
for the
so
opportunity.
Your
much.
work that you are doing is amazing.
Oh, well,
And this
thank
is
you.
not a work that she's doing from yesterday. You and your family always have been working hard for this beautiful city
Yes.
and the people that we live here.
And I just want to thank you both with your profession as educators. Thank you for all you do to educate and inform our youth, and just so much more, because your impact is meaningful, and can't thank you enough.
Thank you.
And we
Appreciate
would
it.
love to have you here again.
Thank you.
And now to talk about your family. And we were talking with Dr. Navarro about
Uh-huh.
a program that they have in Wichita
Yes.
State about.
And Dr. Price.
And Dr.
Oh,
Price.
wonderful.
And we were talking about your family.
Right, so
Okay.
we would love to have you here again, so if
Be
you
an
say
honor.
yes, we can.
And your
we'll write it
mom.
down.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, Monique, thank
Thank
you
you.
again.
Thank you
and
Thank
have a
you so
wonderful
much.
weekend.
Thank you.
And we
you.
will see you soon, and just email us if you need any help. Goodbye.
Thank
Goodbye.
you. Bye.